Hi, everybody. Hey, look at that sandwich. Yeah. It's called a Bacon King. Shit's delicious, man. Oh, hey. Got a new hat. Indiana Jones hat. Fucking love this hat. And I got me a knife. Oh, yeah. Beautiful knife. Anyway. This is just going to be a random video. Nothing, well, there's going to be one thing I'm going to address. Stupid people. More importantly, stupid people on the road. Well, you good? Anyway, I was pulling out of BK. You know, obviously, if you've seen any commercials, the Bacon King is from Burger King. Anyway, I was pulling out of the driveway. This dumb bitch was on her cell phone in an old ass Mazda truck. I pulled out with plenty of clearance. There was no way she was going to hit me. I could have pulled out 3 seconds later and she still wouldn't have hit me. I was already across the main line to get into my lane. She honks the horn, sticks her hand out the window, flips me off and says, "Fuck you." And I'm like, and you wonder why they call white people in this town dumb druggy fucks. I mean, she was clearly on drugs anyway. Was judging by her body language. And in this particular town, if you're a white person and you're from this town, 9 times out of 10 you're probably a druggie. Especially if you're built like that girl was. You know, paper thin twig. Like, any skinnier she'd be transparent kind of thing. I can almost see her teeth through her cheeks. It was bad. It's like, come on, man. My wife even offered for me to follow him so she can go out and pull that girl out of the car and beat her ass. I'm like, ooh, my life's on fire. But no. It's like, no, there's no point in, you know, degrading yourself to being that low. You know, there's no point in it. You know, words are just words. I don't give a damn about them. But, anyway, that's one stupid person today. On my way to work, there was a guy who walked in complaining about not having a job. This moron had tattoos all over his face, skinhead bald, and every time you look at him, he had mean mug the hell out of you. He just look at you with a dirty look. And I was telling my wife this story about when I was hanging out with some old buddies of mine. It was like the same storyline. The guy would sit there and just mean mug everybody every time he came into the gas station to get something. So I did the same thing to this guy that I did to the guy before. You know, do you have a problem with us? Like, is there a problem here, man? You know, what's going on? And he was like, what's that supposed to mean? It's like, well, every time you come in here, you mean mug the shit out of all of us. I was like, let me guess, you don't have a job. He was like, how'd you know that? I was like, well, to be honest, I've been a manager in multiple establishments, especially where you're around people. Nobody wants to see tattoos on your face or gangland tattoos all over your neck. You know, you can have tattoos wherever you want. Just rest assured, unless you're a rapper, a tattoo on your face looks retarded. Actually, even when you're a rapper, a tattoo on the face looks retarded. And I will, like, I'm a freelance tattoo artist, and I will never do a tattoo on someone's face. You know, and I don't do gangland tattoos. I've gotten offered $200 or $300 to do a gangland tattoo on somebody, and I said no. Because I don't do that. You know, I'm not going to brand you with something you're going to die for. You know, I mean, if you're military, you're going to die for the country, fine, whatever. I'll give you a tattoo for that. But I'm not going to give you a fucking retarded-ass tattoo like MS-13 or skinheads or Black Power or whatever. I'm not going to give you a tattoo for anything like that, no. If you're going to get a tattoo, it better mean something. Because tattoos are there forever. Even if you get that laser crap, it's still going to be there. You're still going to have the scar there. All that laser does is take the color out. You feel it, you're still going to feel that tattoo. And that's all tattoos are. They're scars with ink in them. And trust me, because I know this for a fact, when you go over a tattoo, it hurts worse than it does when you put the one on. So when someone's like, oh, I'm going to go darken my tattoo, it's not going to hurt anybody. It's going to hurt worse the second time than it is the first time because you're reopening the scar. And the guy's going to have to cut deeper. Now, I'm done with the stupid people routine. I can go on for hours about the stupidity of some of these people. Not just people in this town, everywhere. You know, I can even go religiously stupid. I can go, one of the things that was driving me nuts was the superstition thing. And I brought this up with my wife earlier, you know. She was playing one of her games on her phone, and I was like, well, shit, I can't sleep either. I started looking up, why do people come up with superstitions? You know, more importantly, why are people superstitious? I'm not saying superstitious is in God or anything. I'm saying, like, stupid superstitions. Like, let's try saying that 5 times really fast. Anyway, like, walking under a ladder is bad luck. Or the number 13. Which, that's only in America. Everywhere else, especially Europe and Italy and all that, it's the number 17. Or how, you know, throwing salt over your shoulder, or, I mean, I know Friday the 13th, I know why that's considered the day of unlucky. It's because of what happened to the Knights of Templar with the Pope. Pope was scared because the Knights of Templar had a shit ton of power back then. This was way back when. This was like, I think it was like 1300s or earlier than that. So, he put out a mass hit, basically, on every Templar out there. And they did the same thing to these guys that they did in the Salem witch trials. They tortured the shit out of people to get them to confess. I'm sorry, but if someone is torturing you, and one of their main torture things is they tie your hand to a board and they shove wood chips underneath your nails. And they do that until you confess. There is no, I'm not a witch. If they're doing that shit, you're confessing. Or they had this nice little handy dandy thing. It was basically a lock clamp. And it was made out of two wood bricks. They're about 2 feet wide, about 3 or 4 feet, 2 inches wide by about 3 inches tall, and about 6 inches long. And these were on pulley systems that would push it in. They'd stick your hand in there with your hand in a ball and a fist, and they would squeeze that. Some people would not submit to it. They would squeeze it till it literally broke every bone in your hand. Or they'd do their most personal favorite thing, especially if you're a female, tie a 100-pound boulder to your feet and throw you in the lake. If you can swim up, you're a witch. If you died, well, you died in God's graces. And, you know, that's just some of the torture they would do. Same thing they did to the Knights Templar. See, a lot of people misconstrue, especially when it comes to the Salem witch trials. Because they had witch trials in Spain, too. They had them all over the world. But, in the Salem witch trials, everybody's like, oh, well, they burned them at the stake. They really didn't burn a lot of them at the stake. They came out with a lot worse shit than that. There were some of them they did burn at the stake, yes. There were some they hung. But most of them they didn't burn at the stake. Most women drowned. And I'm not talking thousands. I'm talking maybe hundreds of thousands of women. Just in a matter of 5 to 6 years. Possibly 10. They slaughtered women for no reason. If you spoke your own mind, you're a witch. If you said no to your husband, you're a witch. If you could read, you're a witch. If you're a midwife, you're a witch. If you were educated in whatsoever at anything, you're a witch. So basically, every woman in today's society would be a witch. There'd be a lot of dead women around here. Now, back to the superstition thing. I always go in tangents like that. Hey, you're not supposed to agree. Anyway, the more I research about the superstitious stuff, the more it's like, you know, it's word of mouth. You know, some dude says, oh, this, like some dude with some kind of machismo, if you will, some power, if you will. So there's say, oh, well, that's unlucky. And then people just start believing in it. Like the black cat thing. Everybody's like, oh, if a black cat crosses your path or a black dog crosses your path, you know, it's unlucky. You know, they say, like, if you've watched Harry Potter, which I've mentioned Harry Potter quite a few times in these little videos, a lot of the stuff they talk about, like the superstitious stuff, a lot of it is true superstition. It's not just made up bullshit. Like the Grim, which is, a big black dog. If you see that, that's basically the sign of death. And that actually started in Europe. The black cat thing started here in America. Well, the big one started here in America. And when it comes to the number 13, that's why I went off on that tangent. Anyway, when it comes to the number 13, America is so superstitious that they won't even, if there are 13 floors on, say, a building of any kind, 9 times out of 10, they will not say it's the 13th floor. They'll say it's like 12A or 14A or 12B. They won't put a 13. Just like in planes that are built in America, they don't have a 13th row. There's usually a space there, and then it goes straight to 14. That's just how superstitious people are. And when I was younger, I used to call it stupid stitious. Because some of the stuff is it's like, dude, that's just stupid. Like, there was one the Lucky Rabbit's foot thing. It's a myth. Kissing the Blarney Stone up in Ireland, a myth. I mean, anybody who has to dangle by their feet to kiss a stone to get something right, it's like, dude, I would rather just have a hard life than have to go down there and kiss a stone that everybody has kissed since the 1700s. I'm good. And some superstitions, people are like, oh, that's just childish. Like, St. Patty's Day, if you find a leprechaun, they got to grant you 3 wishes. That superstition actually came from another superstition from the Middle East. That one came from genies, which is if you find a genie, or a jinn is what they call them there. If you find a jinn, they'll grant you have 3 choices. You either get granted the 3 wishes, and then you got to be very specific. They're very tricky. They will find some way to expedite something in that wish to fuck with you. It's the same thing, and it's exactly the same thing with a leprechaun. You got to be as specific as possible. And I laugh when people tell me this. I'm going to turn the light off now because I'm driving. Anyway. Whoop. Anyway. All these superstitious stuff, just, you're empowering the thought processes of basically the excuse of being a coward. Oh, I don't go into a dark, evil forest. And it's like, well, why is it evil? Well, because it's dark. Well, it's dark because of all the trees. It's evil. How is it evil? You have no proof it's evil. You just assume it's evil because it looks dark and scary. If you face your fears, you'll probably have more fun in life for one. Anybody who stays locked up in a bedroom all the time, or locked up on their computer all the time, for one, your eyes are going to be terrible. And 2, you're not going to have a life. How do you expect to have a life if you lock yourself in a basement, or lock yourself in a room, or listen to a bunch of conspiracy theories and stuff like that? It's a random tangent, but it's like dope heads. They'd rather sit on their asses and watch TV all the time and go and socialize. Now, granted, right now is probably not the best time to go party and socialize. In fact, the government employs you to stay home. Although, if you talk to some of those conspiracy morons, like, oh, it's just the government trying to take power from everybody. Like, they've been slowly doing that for decades, man. I mean, come on. Every time some big thing happens, the government gets closer and closer to just basically dominating us. I mean, just in recent memory, freaking 9/11. I may have been a kid, but I still remember it very well. In 9/11, what happened? We got hit. What's the first thing that happened? The protective agencies came out and said, oh, we'll protect you better now. Really? How many bombs have went off since they started? Back before that happened, you could take a gun on a freaking plane. You could drink on a plane. You could smoke on a plane. Now you can't even take a nail file. It's like, what am I going to do? Cut your cuticles? Is that going to be painful? I mean, security is so freakishly tight, it's terrible. And it is easier to get on the no-fly list than it is to win the lottery now. I mean, me, being born in Oklahoma and being raised in Texas, if I said something stupid, like something that I was going to do something to the president or some stupid terroristic threat like that, they could put me on the no-fly list. Oh, cool.
Do you read that?
Yeah, it says...
Inject yourself with disinfectant.
Okay, fine, fuck it. Why not? I'd rather inject myself than have some other random dude in a freaking G-string inject me. Well, my loving wife just showed me that Trump is suggesting that we inject ourselves with shit.
You need cigarettes or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some. To combat COVID-19. Sure, why not? I mean, we got enough heroin addicts out there. They know exactly where their veins are at.
You know, it's poison. Right?
Of course it's poison. Everything we get is poison. Even when you get a vaccine, the vaccine has the...
Oh my God, Josh, I'm not going to argue with you.
There's a poison in it. Anyway, like I was saying, people just need to grow up. You know, I mean, and this is the funny thing about the Trump thing. They keep saying Trump's incompetent, that he's an idiot, that the government took their sweet ass time to get this COVID-19 thing off the ground. That part is true. They did take their sweet ass time. Mainly because we weren't getting information from China, which is where it started. Now, with that being said, they're calling him incompetent, and they're turning around and telling him, hey, why don't you just make the government run everything? It's like, you're telling him he should be the complete leader, controlling everything, basically being a dictator. And then you turn right around and tell him he's incompetent in the same sentence. You're contradicting everything you're saying here. Either he's incompetent or he's extremely intelligent. I'm going to go more towards right in the middle. You know, sometimes he's smart, sometimes he's a fucking retard. But that's our president, man. And again, our president is just there. You know, he's just a puppet on a string. Granted, he says some shit where it's like, dude, what the fuck? And other times he says some shit and you're like, hey! Like, one of the things that they're bitching about is how he said he's closing the borders, which he has. He's closed all the borders. Not just for Mexicans, not just for Chinese, for everyone. And everybody's all, that's fucked up, man, that's racist. It's not racist. He even said in his address that it's not being racist. He wants the American people to be able to function again. And for the American people to actually have jobs. And I know it sounds like, you know, a broken record with me saying this, but I agree with it, man. You know, keep those fuckers out until we can actually get back on our feet. Because this COVID-19 shit fucked us all up, man. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. Y'all have a good night, and I'll either get back on here on Friday, which would be tomorrow, or get back on here definitely for Sunday. Anyway, you guys have a good night.